Hey everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're diving into the story of a figure who was absolutely central to India's freedom movement, but you might not even know his name. He was the quiet force, the engine room, right behind one of the most iconic leaders in history.
So let me just ask you this. We all know the famous political leaders who came after Gandhi, but who did he himself, in a moment of absolute crisis, name as his one true heir? Well, the answer is probably not who you think.
You see, this man was so woven into Gandhi's life and work that it's almost impossible to separate them. He wasn't just the secretary. He was Gandhi's pen, his voice, his actual shadow. For a full 25 years, he was the person the world saw Gandhi through, and the person Gandhi relied on to organize a revolution.
To really understand this man, Mahadev Desai, we have to start with this beautiful metaphor that people use to describe his life, the morning star.
So in India, the planet Venus is known as Shukratara. It's that incredibly bright star you see in the sky, a companion to the moon, shining like crazy. But you only see it for an hour or two, right before the sun comes up. And then, poof, it's gone. And that's exactly how people saw Mahadev Desai. He lit up the dawn of India's independence with his sheer brilliance, and then, tragically, he vanished just before the sun fully rose.
Okay, so let's get into it. How did this indispensable relationship even begin? How did Mahadev Desai become so completely essential to Gandhi?
Well, it all kicked off in 1917. The moment they met, Gandhi knew this guy was special. But the real turning point, the defining moment, came just 2 years later. Gandhi gets arrested on a train, right? The future of the entire movement is up in the air. And in that critical moment, he turns to Desai and calls him his heir. Just think about the weight of that word. This wasn't just a promotion. It was about who would carry the torch for the whole nation. And by 1929, he wasn't just Gandhi's right-hand man. He was loved all across India.
Now here's what I find so fascinating. While Gandhi is seeing him as a future leader, a successor, Mahadev described himself with this humble, almost funny phrase, Pir Bawarchi Bishti Kar. It means saint cook, water carrier, and donkey. It perfectly captures his entire philosophy, this idea of selfless service. He was ready to be anything and everything for the cause, no matter how small the task. He took pride in service, not power.
So what made him so indispensable? Well, it was his skill set. It was almost superhuman. His weapon of choice wasn't a sword or a gun, it was a pen.
I mean, just look at this list. Mahadev Desai was basically a one-man communication powerhouse. He took perfect notes in high-stakes meetings. He wrote every critical letter, he edited the newspapers that were shaping public opinion, and he translated Gandhi's core ideas for the whole world to understand. He was the organizational hub of the entire movement.
And get this, he didn't even know shorthand, but his longhand notes were so legendary, so famously accurate, that top international journalists would literally cross-check their own shorthand transcripts against Mahadev's. He never missed a word, not so much as a comma. His notes were the official historical record.
And it wasn't just about accuracy. It was about pure craft. His calligraphy was legendary. Gandhi's letters to the highest officials in the British Empire, including the Viceroy himself, were written in Mahadev's hand. And the story goes that these officials would just marvel at the script, admitting that nobody in their entire civil service could write so beautifully.
And you see, this skill was about more than just administration. He was shaping the narrative. He was the force behind the two most important nationalist newspapers of the time, and maybe most crucially, he's the one who translated Gandhi's autobiography. Without Mahadev Desai, Gandhi's entire philosophy might never have reached the global audience it did.
But raw talent alone doesn't really capture the whole picture. What truly set him apart was his unbelievable work ethic. It was like he was a living embodiment of the philosophy of karma yoga. Selfless action done without any thought of reward.
So just to let this one number sink in for a second, 11 miles. For a long time, Gandhi lived in this remote village, and to get there from his home, Mahadev walked 11 miles. That's about 18 kilometers every single day, back and forth, in this scorching, oppressive heat of central India. And that was all before his workday even began. His capacity for work was just legendary. I mean, this slide gives you just a little glimpse. He was always on the move, but that never stopped him. People would tell stories about seeing him perched on the top bunk of a rattling, crowded train, just calmly reading documents or writing articles for the next newspaper. His colleagues said they literally never knew when the man ate or slept or bathed. He just worked.
But, you know, a human body can only take so much.
This relentless pace, this complete and total devotion to the cause, it came out a tragic, heavy price. That daily 11-mile walk, piled on top of years of sleepless nights and nonstop work, it just wore him down. It's believed to be one of the main reasons for his sudden, premature death in 1942. He was only 50 years old. The morning star had vanished from the sky.
And Gandhi was absolutely shattered. This wasn't just losing a secretary, it was like losing a son, his own right hand, his chosen successor. He would often repeat this one line from a classic devotional song: "This wound will never heal." For a man who endured so much, this particular loss was a wound that cut right to his soul.
And maybe nothing shows the depth of that wound more than this last heartbreaking detail. For years, right up until his own death, whenever Gandhi needed help from his other aides, his mind would just slip. He wouldn't call for the person who was there. Instinctively, automatically, the name that always came to his lips was Mahadev.
So it leaves us with a question, doesn't it? We build monuments to the suns that light up our world, the great, famous leaders. But history is also made by the morning stars, those brilliant, dedicated figures like Mahadev Desai, who do the tireless work in the background, who burn so brightly and then disappear, but who make the sunrise possible in the first place. It makes you wonder, how many more are out there, quietly shaping our world?